Hey everyone, welcome to Profit Architects, where profit isn't stumbled upon, it's engineered. Today, I want to share a story that might seem simple at first, but by the end, you'll understand why some people grind for decades and never get ahead, while others make one small shift and suddenly everything clicks. This isn't about luck. It's not about privilege. It's about strategy, and more specifically, it's about something most people completely overlook when trying to build real wealth: location and cash flow. Let me introduce you to Joe. He's 54 years old, runs a tiny food cart in a quiet neighborhood on the outskirts of Houston, Texas. For over 20 years, he's done the same routine: up before dawn, prepping his famous beef chili, setting out folding chairs and serving locals, mostly truckers, day laborers, and regulars from around the block. He makes about 50 cents profit per bowl. On a good day, he sells 40 bowls. After costs, he brings home maybe $15. It's enough to scrape by, but it's far from thriving. No website, no social media, no delivery options, just word of mouth and loyal customers. To Joe, success simply means keeping the lights on and food on the table. But then everything changed thanks to one customer. One summer morning, a young guy named Alex walked up to his cart. He was clearly different. Nice watch, always checking his phone, probably worked in tech. After finishing his bowl, he looked at Joe and asked, "Have you ever thought about selling this online?" Joe chuckled. "I wouldn't even know where to start. I don't do that tech stuff." But Alex wasn't joking. He worked at a startup that helped small businesses go digital. That same afternoon, he came back with a plan: professional photos of the food, a simple, modern brand, listings on Uber Eats and DoorDash, a delivery zone focused on busy office parks nearby. Joe was skeptical. What if it didn't work? What if he lost money? But Alex promised to handle everything. All Joe had to do was cook. Within weeks, Joe's Texas Chili was live on every major food app. They bumped the price from $3 to $6 per bowl. Orders tripled, then doubled again. Within 2 months, Joe was selling 120 plus bowls a day, pulling in over $7. 000 a month, with profits more than 6 times what they used to be. And here's the wild part. He didn't change the recipe. He didn't learn marketing. He didn't open a fancy restaurant. He just took the same product to a better market. That's the hidden truth people miss. Your income isn't just shaped by what you do. It's defined by where you do it. So ask yourself, are you fishing in a pond with no fish and wondering why you're coming up empty? Are you grinding harder and harder, yet still stuck in the same place? Maybe you're not doing anything wrong. Maybe you're just doing it in the wrong place. In today's video, we're diving into one of the most overlooked keys to financial freedom: cash flow positioning. Go where the money flows and everything changes. This isn't theory, it's real. And once you see it, you won't be able to unsee it. You'll recognize opportunity not because you're lucky, but because now you'll know where to look. Stick around. We're just getting started. Next, we'll uncover why location isn't just physical. It's psychological, digital, and strategic. And how you can position yourself exactly where the money is flowing. Welcome to Profit Architects, where profit isn't found, it's engineered. Let's talk about something most people completely overlook when trying to build real wealth: location and cash flow. Not your skills, not your job title, your position in the financial ecosystem. Here's a truth that might surprise you. Riches aren't about what you do, they're about where you do it. Take 2 baristas, for example. One works in a small town in Ohio, the other in Manhattan. Same skill, same job, but one makes $12 an hour, the other pulls in over $30. Why? Because the environment around them is different. The money's flowing differently. Or think of 2 construction workers, one in Texas, one in San Francisco. One builds homes for middle-class families. The other works on luxury developments where every square foot costs more than your car. Same trade, wildly different income. It's not about luck or privilege. It's about positioning. If you want to catch big fish, you don't sit by a puddle. You go where the ocean is. And if you want to make serious money, you need to be where the money already is. Let me break this down with something we all understand: real estate. Why is a tiny apartment in downtown LA worth millions while a huge house in rural Kansas sells for under $200,000? Location, flow, demand. People with money are concentrated in certain areas, and that's where value grows. Same goes for business. A food truck in Times Square can pull in thousands a day. Park that same truck outside a dime mall in the Midwest, and they'll be lucky to break even. It's not the food. It's not the owner's hustle. It's the flow of cash in the area. And here's the kicker. This applies to every industry. Whether you're freelancing online, opening a shop, or building a digital brand, you still need to position yourself where the money is moving. If you're a designer charging $50 per hour but only getting local clients, imagine how much faster you'd grow if you marketed yourself to startups in Silicon Valley or agencies in NYC. If you're a fitness coach working a neighborhood gym, how would your income change if you started offering premium virtual coaching to high-income professionals across the country? This isn't theory, it's strategy. So ask yourself, are you fishing in a pond with no fish and wondering why you're not catching anything? Are you grinding hard every day but still stuck financially? Maybe you're not doing anything wrong. You're just doing it in the wrong place. The rich aren't always smarter. They're just standing in the right spot when the money flows through. That's why at Profit Architects, we don't chase scraps. We engineer opportunities. We look at the map of money and position ourselves exactly where the current is strongest. Because profit isn't found, it's engineered. Stick around. This is just the foundation. Next, I'm going to show you 15 powerful strategies that will help you locate the biggest cash flows and position yourself perfectly to tap into them. Let's get real for a second. You could be the most talented person in your field, work 80 hours a week, and still not see the kind of results you want. Not because you're doing anything wrong, but because you're playing the game in the wrong arena. That's what we're talking about today. How to position yourself exactly where the money is flowing. And I'm not talking about luck or being born into the right family. This is strategy, pure and simple. So let me walk you through the first 3 core strategies that will completely shift how you think about income, opportunity, and growth. Strategy number 1. Cash always flows toward the center. Think of it like gravity. Money naturally pulls toward hubs of activity, commerce, and influence. That means big cities, business districts, startup incubators, financial centers. Wherever the energy is, that's where the money gathers. It's not just about foot traffic. It's about density of spending power. In New York City, a street vendor can sell $1. 000 worth of coffee in a single morning during rush hour. Do the same thing in a small town, and you'll be lucky to break $100. Let me give you a real-world example. There was a guy named Chris. He used to run a small juice cart in a rural town in Alabama. Business was slow. Profit margins were razor thin. Then one day, he decided to move his cart to downtown Austin, Texas, right near a cluster of tech offices and co-working spaces. Suddenly, young professionals were lining up to pay premium prices for fresh-pressed juice on their lunch breaks. He didn't change the recipe. He didn't even raise his prices that much. But his revenue exploded, simply because he moved to where the money already was. So ask yourself, are you trying to build your business in a place where people are just scraping by? Or are you putting yourself in front of people who already have money to spend? Strategy number 2, don't chase volume. Target high-value customers. Most people think success comes from selling more. More units, more customers, more transactions. But here's the truth. It's often better to sell less, to people who are willing to pay more. Let me break it down with another example. There's a guy named Mike. He ran a small clothing store in a quiet part of Phoenix, selling everyday fashion, jeans, tees, casual stuff. He was busy all the time, but the profits just weren't there. Then one day, he landed a contract with a local entrepreneur who paid him $20,000 to help revamp his entire wardrobe and personal brand. That was the turning point. Mike realized he wasn't just in retail, he was in the image business. So he pivoted. Instead of selling hundreds of $20 shirts, he started offering personal style consulting for high-earning professionals. His customer base shrank, but his income tripled. His stress went down. His profit margin went up. and his business finally felt sustainable. This principle applies everywhere. A freelance graphic designer charging $30 per hour locally could be earning $150 per hour working with startups in Silicon Valley. A personal trainer grinding it out in a neighborhood gym could double or triple their income offering premium coaching packages for execs and high net worth clients, even virtually. The math is simple. Fewer clients, higher value, bigger returns. Strategy number 3, your environment shapes your mindset. You've heard the saying, you're the average of the 5 people you spend time with. Well, it's true, and it applies to places too. If you live in an environment where nobody talks about investing, entrepreneurship, or building wealth, guess what happens? You stop thinking about it too. I've seen this happen over and over. People surrounded by negativity, scarcity, and complacency start to believe that struggle is normal, that they're not supposed to make more than a certain amount. But when you change your environment, when you move to a city, join a community of builders, or immerse yourself in conversations about growth and strategy, something shifts inside you. Suddenly, you start seeing opportunities where before you saw obstacles. You start asking better questions. You start demanding more from your career, your business, and your life. That's why at Profit Architects, we don't just teach tactics. We help you engineer your entire ecosystem for success. Let's talk about how to spot money before most people even know it's coming, and how to position yourself so that when the wave hits, you're already surfing it. A lot of people think success is all about hustling harder than everyone else. But I've seen something even more powerful than hustle. Timing and positioning. Money doesn't sit still, it moves. It flows from one industry to the next, from one platform to another, from dying trends to emerging ones. And if you're not watching carefully, you'll miss it. Take Tina, for example. She used to run a tiny food stand outside a community college in Orlando, Florida, selling homemade nachos and lemonade. Same customers, same slow days, same small profits. One day, she noticed a group of students filming themselves on TikTok, selling beauty products and clothes through live streams. And they weren't just doing it for fun. They were making serious money. At first, she laughed. Who's buying lipstick from a random kid dancing on their phone? But she kept watching. Then she started learning. She realized the money wasn't just in the product. It was in personality. It was about connection, trust, and consistency. So she made a bold move. She bought a ring light, learned how to use her phone like a studio, and started selling trendy home essentials on TikTok Shop. Within 2 months, she went from making $50 a day selling nachos to making $250 a day live streaming from her living room. Her product didn't change, but her platform did. That's strategy number 4. Follow the flow. Get ahead of the curve. The future doesn't knock, it rushes by. The people who win big aren't always the smartest. They're the ones who see the signs and move before the crowd shows up. Now let's talk about something even more dangerous than missing a trick. Being afraid to take any risk at all. Strategy number 5. The silent killer of opportunity. Static thinking. You could be grinding day after day, staying late, never skipping a beat. But if your mindset is stuck in survival mode, all that effort won't translate into real wealth. This was the case for Marcus, a factory worker in Cleveland, Ohio. He spent 5 years on the line stitching clothes for a global brand. Got paid by the piece. Took every overtime shift. Never called out sick. But 5 years in, he was still living paycheck to paycheck. Then one night, just out of curiosity, he listened to a podcast about digital freelancing. That small spark lit a fire. He started teaching himself tools like Canva and Figma. Nights and weekends, he designed Instagram posts just to build a portfolio. No clients at first, but he stuck with it. 6 months later, he landed his first freelance job. $500 for a branded social media carousel. Then another. Then more. A year later, he quit the factory. Now, Marcus works full-time as a remote designer, tripling his old income. No commute, total freedom. That's not luck. That's mindset. You can't keep playing not to lose. You've got to start playing to win. Because profit isn't found. It's engineered. And that brings us to strategy number 6. Your role in the financial ecosystem matters more than you think. Ask yourself honestly, are you replaceable or are you irreplaceable? Because here's the hard truth. If anyone can do what you do, they'll pay you like anyone else. But if you bring something unique, a rare skill, a fresh perspective, a refined process, then you own the value. And when you own the value, you name the price. Think of it this way. There are thousands of delivery drivers, but only a few who also understand logistics data, customer behavior, and route optimization. That one driver who knows how to use tech, analyze patterns, and improve efficiency, he doesn't stay a driver for long. Same goes for freelancers, consultants, creators, even employees. If you want to increase your earning potential, don't just work harder, work differently. Position yourself where you're not just another cog in the machine, but a key player in the system. So ask yourself, what makes you different? What do you offer that no one else can replicate easily? Where are you adding unique value? Because once you figure that out, you'll stop competing on price and start competing on impact. Let me ask you something real quick. Have you ever noticed how some people seem to make money almost effortlessly? Not because they're smarter or luckier, but because they're in the right place at the right time, doing exactly what the market needs. That's what we're talking about today. Powerful strategies that show how to find and tap into cash flow where most people overlook it completely. Let's talk about strategy number 7. Cash always gathers where transactions happen. Think of it this way. Every time someone spends money, it creates a ripple. And if you're standing in the middle of that ripple zone, you don't just catch a few drops, you ride the whole wave. Now picture this. 2 versions of the same guy. One is a delivery driver in a quiet suburban town, maybe somewhere outside Des Moines. He drives for hours, picks up a handful of packages, drops them off, and calls it a day. The work is honest, but the volume is low. The cash flow? Meh. The other version lives in downtown Chicago. He starts noticing patterns. Orders spike around lunchtime. Small shops need same-day deliveries. Office buildings are begging for reliable couriers. The demand is real, but the system is messy. So he does something bold. Instead of just driving, he builds a small delivery network. He pulls together 20 reliable drivers, sets up a simple app, standardizes pricing, and starts offering on-demand service to local businesses. Within months, he's not just delivering packages. He's running a logistics operation. That's exactly what happened to Chris, a former delivery guy who turned chaos into cash flow. 3 years later, his company was generating over $50,000 a month. Not because he worked harder, but because he positioned himself where the money was already moving. Now let's move to strategy number 8. The biggest opportunities are hiding in the bottlenecks. Most people look for markets where everything feels smooth and easy. But the truth is, profit hides in the friction. Let me give you an example. Meet Eric, a former software engineer working for a mid-sized firm in Austin, Texas. His job was steady, but honestly, it felt like a dead end. One day, while helping a client organize internal documents, he noticed a huge pain point. No one had a clean, simple way to manage files across departments. People were wasting hours searching through Slack threads, Google Drive links, and email attachments. It was a mess. So Eric built a solution, a minimalist, affordable document management tool built specifically for small businesses. Nothing fancy, just clear, intuitive, and actually useful. Within a year, over 500 companies were paying to use it. Why? Because Eric didn't try to compete in a crowded app store. He solved the boring, overlooked problem that was quietly costing companies real money. Lesson: don't chase where everyone's running. Go where things are broken and fix them. Now, let's wrap it up with strategy number 9. Find wealth where no one else is looking. You don't have to fight for a spot in New York or Silicon Valley to build something meaningful. In fact, some of the best opportunities are hiding in places everyone else ignores. Take Danielle, a young veterinarian who graduated from a top program in California. Most of her classmates opened clinics in LA or San Francisco. Not Danielle. She moved back to her hometown, a smaller rural town in Montana where pet care was still pretty basic. Most folks didn't even have access to full-service clinics. But Danielle saw the trend. more young families, more pet owners, people spending real money on their animals, not just food, but wellness, grooming, and care. She opened the town's first modern vet clinic, clean, welcoming, tech-enabled. Within 2 years, she had expanded to 2 locations and was earning 4 times what her classmates in the city were making. Why? Because she didn't follow the crowd. She saw what was missing and stepped in to fill the gap. So here's the question you need to ask. Are you trying to compete in a saturated space? Or are you building something where value is missing and no one's paying attention? Let's talk about something most people completely overlook when trying to build real wealth. Not just where you go, but how you evaluate where to go. Because not every place that looks rich is actually a good place to make money. Not every city with high traffic is the right environment for your business or career. And not every opportunity that seems crowded is already taken. You need a framework, a way to measure if a location, market, or community is truly worth investing your time, energy, and money in. So let me walk you through strategy number 10, the financial lens of environment. There are 3 key factors you should always assess before stepping into any new area to make money. First, money flow. Is there actual spending happening? Are people dropping cash on goods, services, experiences? Is there a pattern of consistent transactions? Second, mindset openness. Are people willing to try new things? Willing to pay premium for quality, convenience, or expertise? Do they value innovation, or are they stuck in old habits? Third, competitive pressure. How many players are already here? How strong are they? Can you find a niche, a gap, or a unique angle that lets you stand out without burning through resources? Let me give you a real example. Meet Jason, a high-end hairstylist based in Los Angeles. He worked with celebrities, had a solid following, and made great money. But he was burned out. The competition was fierce. Every neighborhood had another luxury salon. Everyone was slashing prices, chasing trends, trying to stay relevant. So Jason did something bold. He moved his entire operation to Boise, Idaho, a fast-growing city with rising income and a booming lifestyle scene. But he didn't just open another salon. He created an experience, premium imported products, one-on-one consultations, herbal scalp treatments, even Instagram-ready lighting and photo backdrops so clients could show off their new look online. And guess what? Within 6 months, he had more high-paying clients than he ever did in LA. Why? Because he didn't chase what looked big. He evaluated the environment. He found a place where money was flowing. People were ready to spend, and competition was low. He didn't settle. He strategized. Now strategy 11. The 3-step formula to relocate and rebuild your life. A lot of people dream of moving somewhere bigger, better, or more profitable, but they fail because they jump in blind. No plan, no testing, just hope. That's why I created this system. Plant, root claim. Step 1, plant a temporary flag. Pick a new location, maybe a different neighborhood, city, or even digital space. Live there temporarily. Test the waters. Talk to locals. Observe behavior. Don't commit yet, just explore. Step 2, root yourself in the community. Start building relationships. Join local groups. Take small gigs. Offer your skills at a lower scale. Learn the culture, the needs, the gaps. Step 3, claim your spot permanently. Once you've validated your idea and adapted your offer, go all in. Settle down, invest properly, build your brand, and start scaling. This works whether you're relocating physically or shifting industries online. You don't just show up. You adapt, evolve, and earn your place. And finally, strategy 12, the leverage of community. Money doesn't grow in isolation. It grows where smart people gather, share ideas, challenge each other, and create opportunities together. Think of it like compound interest for your brain. The more high-quality people you surround yourself with, the faster your knowledge, confidence, and network grow. Take Walter, an introverted software developer who spent years working behind a screen. He knew tech, but had no public speaking skills, no audience, no side income. Then he joined a personal finance group in his city. For the first time, he met people who weren't just saving money. They were making it work for them. Investing, building assets, creating multiple streams. Inspired, he started reading, learning, experimenting. Built a YouTube channel. Started coaching. Within 3 years, he quit his job and now makes more from affiliate marketing, investments, and online courses than he ever did as an employee. Why? Because he tapped into the right community. That's the power we're talking about here. Let me ask you something. Do you ever feel like you're doing everything right, but still not seeing the results? You got the skills. You got the hustle. You're putting in the work. But somehow, the money just isn't flowing your way. Well, let me tell you why, and more importantly, how to fix it. Because success isn't always about what you do. It's about where you do it and how smartly you position yourself in the market. Let's start with strategy number 13. Turn your location into a launch pad for your brand. You don't just want to live somewhere. You want to own that place in people's minds. Think of it like this. When someone thinks of pizza in New York, they think of Joe's. When they think of tacos in LA, they think of Guisados. These aren't just restaurants. They're geographic brands. And the same idea works online too. If you're based in Chicago and you start reviewing deep dish pizza spots, you become the go-to expert for that niche. If you live near Wall Street and make content about finance, people automatically assume you know what you're talking about. It's not about being the best. It's about being the most relevant to that space. One creator I know lives in a small town outside Nashville. Instead of trying to compete with big food influencers in major cities, he built a YouTube channel focused on Southern breakfast joints no one else was covering. Within a year, he had over 100,000 subscribers, all because he used his location as an asset, not a limitation. Now let's talk about strategy number 14. Not everywhere with money is worth your time. Just because there's cash doesn't mean it's yours to grab. Some markets are already saturated, flooded with competitors who've been there longer, have deeper pockets, and can outspend you on ads, branding, and logistics. I remember a guy named David who wanted to open a coffee shop in downtown Los Angeles. His thinking was, this area is packed with office workers, foot traffic is high, rent is steep, must be a great opportunity. So he signed a lease, poured $200,000 into renovations, and launched his dream cafe. 3 months later, he was barely breaking even. Why? Because he didn't just step into a competitive market. He walked straight into a war zone. Starbucks, Coffee Bean, local favorites, they were already everywhere. People weren't looking to switch. Loyalty was locked in. David wasn't wrong about the money being there. He was just wrong about his timing and positioning. And that's a trap a lot of people fall into. They chase the shiny city lights, not realizing the lions are already feasting. Which brings us to strategy number 15. Hunt for green fields, untapped markets with rising demand. The best opportunities aren't found where everyone is fighting. They're found where no one's shown up yet. Take Hannah, for example. She moved to a small town in Indiana after getting married. Back in San Francisco, she was a coding instructor. Out there, she figured her tech career was done. But then she noticed something. Kids in town were hooked on Roblox and Minecraft, but no one was teaching them how to build anything. So she started small, weekend workshops on game design and basic coding. Word spread fast. Within 6 months, she had over 50 students and was opening a second class. No competition, high demand, minimal startup costs. She didn't need to be in Silicon Valley to succeed. She just needed to find the right gap at the right time in the right place. So here's your takeaway. Don't just follow the money, follow the opportunity. At Profit Architects, we don't teach you how to grind harder. We show you how to position smarter. We've just walked through 15 powerful strategies that reveal one undeniable truth, where you are matters more than most people realize. It's not about how hard you work. It's about whether you're standing in the flow of money or stuck on the sidelines. Because here's what nobody tells you. Success doesn't always go to the smartest or the most talented. It goes to the ones who position themselves where the action is. You saw it with Fat, the sugarcane juice seller who multiplied his income by moving to a high-traffic area. You heard how Han went from street food to live streaming sales like a pro. And you learned from Vu, who spotted a problem no one else was solving and turned it into a 6-figure business. These weren't miracles. They were decisions. decisions to stop waiting for luck and start engineering profit. So now I want you to ask yourself, where are you right now in your financial map? Are you in a place where money flows, or are you trying to build wealth in a desert? Are you surrounded by people who lift you up and push you forward? Or are you stuck in a cycle of scarcity and survival? And most importantly, are you willing to do something about it? Because here's the final truth. You don't have to stay where you are. If your current environment isn't helping you grow, change it. If your network isn't pushing you forward, expand it. If your location isn't giving you access to opportunity, move. Digitally, physically, strategically, however it takes. This isn't about quitting your job tomorrow and chasing dreams blindly. It's about making smart, calculated moves, positioning yourself where the money already is. Because again, profit isn't found, it's engineered. So if you got value out of this video, hit that subscribe button, turn on the bell so you never miss another strategy, mindset shift, or real-world case study we drop every week. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.